Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Study Break, presented by Southern New Hampshire University. Today, I'm with fellow SNHU staff member Spencer, and we're interviewing 5 different students with amazing stories.
In today's episode, we're talking to Toni.
We actually recently went down to where she lives in North Carolina. She earned her degree in cybersecurity, and now she's graduating, so I'm really excited to hear her inspiring story. So we actually just got back from seeing you in North Carolina, but let's reintroduce you. So you can just tell us your name and where you're from and what your degree was in.
Okay. My name is Toni, and I am from Charlotte, North Carolina, and my degree is cybersecurity. I have a master's in cybersecurity.
How did the idea of going back to school even come into your mind?
It's one of my favorite stories, actually. One of my cousin's friends, basically told me to just go for it, stop making excuses. I can do it. Being a single parent of 2, I was kind of hesitant on whether or not I can do it with my schedule, with the, finances, if I would be able to, be able to afford it with my undergrad degree and everything. And she's like, you're saying all these things, but, just do it. And then, that weekend I saw a Southern New Hampshire University commercial. I was applied and it was history from there.
So you mentioned your kids. They're obviously a big part of your life. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about them a little bit?
Yes. I have a 12-year-old son. His name is Noah. And then I have a 7, soon to be 8-year-old daughter. Her name is Imani. Those are my hearts. Those are my babies. Love them dearly.
What do you hope they'll learn from watching you achieve such a major milestone?
That they can do anything that they set their mind out to do. I know it sounds cliche, but coming from a background where all odds were against you and overcoming basically all adversities that you can think of and still succeeding, still doing it, shows them that it doesn't matter what your background, it doesn't matter what your circumstances are. You just have to have that motivation, that grit, that determination to be like, I can do this. And that's all you need.
That's such great advice.
Yeah.
Was there a moment where you knew that SNHU was the right school for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When it was easy to apply, when it was easy to set up classes, when I had someone that was walking me through the way from point A to point B, even down to having to figure out as far as like promissory notes and stuff like that with financial aid. Like they're like, okay, well, this is what you have to do and message me when you get it done and we'll get that squared away. So I knew that I found a home. Like I knew that I wasn't just, a number. I knew that I mattered.
Yeah. So you knew from the admissions process, like right away.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And expanding on that idea of support, you've talked to us about your advisor, Mitch.
Yes, Mitch. Mitch is amazing.
Yeah. Tell us about him.
Yes. I cannot gloat enough about Mitch. Mitch, from the day he called me to the day that I finished, he said, he would be like, what do you need? Is everything okay? And, even outside of stuff, as far as academic, he was there. Hey, is everything going on? With, everything okay with life? And like, it felt like he actually cared about me as a person. And I remember I saw somebody had got some swag and I was like, oh, Mitch, I didn't get any swag. And he was like, and then next thing you know, it was at my door. And I'm like, oh,
that's awesome.
That's so wonderful, Mitch.
Yeah. Shout out to Mitch.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Mitch.
Let's go back in time a little bit. So when you were, because you're graduating now, so you're all done with school, but let's go back to when you were still in school. Mm-hmm. Can you walk us through a week in your life as an SNHU student, what that was like? How did you prioritize school, work, being a mom, all of that?
It took, definitely took time management, heavy time management, from working from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., cooking dinner in between time, in between my breaks, studying while I'm on break. I didn't really get a break, My breaks consist of whether it was studying or taking care of my kids. And then whatever I didn't finish afterwards, I can finish after I put them to bed and everything. So it allowed me the freedom to work on the stuff that I needed to work on my free time and my own schedule, which was definitely beneficial with all the stuff that I had going on within my life. Mm-hmm.
So imagine really quick that I'm thinking about going to school. Why is SNHU the place I should go or even come back to?
Because SNHU, it's a good place to go to and to even, consider to go to, because you're not just a student. Like it's almost like, it's like your family. Even down to this experience right now, it has been a dream come true. Like not even knowing or feeling like I can even go to my graduation, to that being a dream come true, to being on this podcast right now. Like everything has been such an amazing experience, to, from not even thinking that you can go to school to graduating with a 4.0. It's just been wonderful. The advisors wonderful. Even when Mitch wasn't available, the other advisors were there to be helpful. It's like everybody has been so supportive, the professors, if I needed questions, they were always readily available, responded in timely, manner. It just has been a great experience,
And you're about to see all that support on display tomorrow at graduation. What are the feelings going into that?
I'm excited. I'm anxious. I'm nervous. I heard it was like a magical experience, even from the commercials, or like even seeing other people graduate. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So going back to that community aspect of SNHU, did you feel like you're a part of a community? And can you give an example of why you felt this way? Maybe in your classes with other students, did you feel like you were connected to them?
Yeah, I actually met some amazing people, some amazing ladies through SNHU that I communicate with today. There was a mixer that SNHU actually had that, when, you guys came to Charlotte, and I met some amazing people that, like I said, I still communicate with today. So, and it's funny, I was actually in the drive-thru at Wendy's one time, and I saw somebody with the SNHU bumper, and I'm like out of my window, hey, I go to that school. And then, we exchange numbers, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I hope that doesn't, it's not weird or anything like that. But yeah, she was like, no, it's not weird. And it just was amazing to see that no matter, where SNHU is located, you still have people that go to the same school and experience the same thing in your own hometown. It's just like mind blowing how you guys reach.
What feels different about getting this degree in particular?
Like I said, the support is 100%. The best experience that I have ever experienced. I have a bachelor's, so, even down to how to apply to the school, the advisors, like everything, like I said, has been a positive experience. I never had to worry about, my financial aid or, classes, not being able to attend classes. Just everything has been how it needs to be, and organized and so structured. I love structure.
Yeah. So tell us about your program that you chose here. Why did you choose cybersecurity?
It's funny because one of my favorite shows is Criminal Minds, and I aspired to be in cybersecurity because of Penelope. And how she, was able to track the criminals and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh no, I find you before you find me and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, she is bad. I want to be like her, but I've always had a passion for computers. I've always been a huge computer nerd and computer geek. In my undergrad, I actually started with computer science before I switched over to the major that I did, but I've always had a love for computers.
Yeah. And it's such an important field too, because everything is online now, and we need security more than ever.
Oh yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
So what's something you learned in your master's program that you found really interesting?
I would say the most important thing was to not doubt myself, and to have patience, to believe that things would happen how they're supposed to happen, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Because I used to be so, and I'm still getting better at it. So boom, boom, boom. Like I said, like in structure, whatnot. But, with everything still coming together and me not having to stress so much because everything has been smooth and, easy and everything, is like, okay, well, I don't have to overthink about this. I don't have to stress about this. In addition to that, it made me a lot more, vocal when it comes down to talking to people and things like that. I used to be very introverted and, in my own bubble, but it gave me the confidence. It definitely has helped me grow exponentially.
Is there something you learned in your master's in cybersecurity program that would surprise people who are looking to go to the same program as you?
I guess the knowledge of the dangers online. I feel like people know, but they don't know, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, you can be like, okay, even out of giving your phone number, you're like, okay, well, I just, give my phone number. But, you can find a lot with just that, that little piece of information. And then one of my favorite class was the forensic portion of it, seeing how if there is a cyber crime or whatnot or incident, how it goes from chain of custody. Yeah, chain of custody. And how you have to make sure that you do everything, dot your I's and cross your T's to prevent the evidence from being thrown out. And that was interesting because it had a little bit of law in there as well.
Yeah.
So, I guess that would be interesting, how cyber actually ties into law. There's so many aspects of cybersecurity that people think that it's just as, like hacking or something like that, but it's not. It's a vast, a vast program that, there's just many programs, many aspects of cybersecurity, and you don't know until you're knee deep in it.
Right.
Like, okay, well, this is what cybersecurity is.
Yeah. So now that you've finished, where are you hoping this degree takes you?
My goal is to be a behavior analyst. So funny story with that, because I already told you about Penelope from Criminal Minds, but also Juan from Law and Order SVU, the psychology piece that he does, and then the profiling part. So being able to profile the cyber criminals and catch them and also beat them at their own game, that's very exciting. So being able to tie those two together is very exciting to me. So I look forward to doing that.
Very cool.
SNHU made that possible.
Yeah.
So
very cool. If someone out there is thinking about a future in this field, what would you say to motivate them?
If you have the want or desire to do it, don't let anything hold you back in doing it. Like I said, it know it seems cliche, but don't. If you miss, like I said before, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Yep.
So if you want to do something, go ahead and do it. Don't count yourself out or anything like that. If you're like, okay, well, I want to go to school for cybersecurity, start looking it up, start putting one step forward. So that's what I would tell someone, to just go for it. Just like somebody told me, just do it.
I want to circle back really quick to being a working mom, balancing school. What advice do you have for other working parents that want to go back to school?
I know there's a lot of working moms or working parents in general, and single parents also, like myself, who, says, okay, well, I can't do it, how I'm going to be able to afford it or whatnot, and, count themselves out or talk themselves out of it like I almost did. You never know until you try, and that's one of the things that I would tell them. Like, you don't think that you can't do something. It takes, I guess, the support. Make sure you have the support of your family, even if you don't have the support, like you can basically do anything that you set yourself out to do. You just have to be determined. You just have to want it enough.
So my final question, going back to commencement, what do you think it will feel like to be crossing that stage and getting that diploma? What do you think that feeling is going to be like?
Like, oh, I did it. Like I said, despite all odds, like I did it, like I said, not thinking that I would go to school to actually completing it and then doing it well and succeeding it, that, I'm pretty sure I will be emotional. I'm pretty sure, because it's a very touching, I guess, experience to know that where you come from and how hard you fought and how hard you worked, to know all that hard work paid off.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. This day is for you, so enjoy it.
Yeah.
I have one more segment. It's a much lighter segment called our lightning round, our
Okay.
brain break round.
Oh, man.
I actually thought of this one off the top of my head because we saw you give a presentation, I think, about password safety when we were down there. Is that true? I would love to hear an example of a terrible password. What could be the worst password that you could put for like your bank or an app like that?
Yeah, ABC123.
Yeah.
Password.
Password, yeah.
A lot of people do that. Or QWERTY, and they just swipe their finger like that.
What about birthdays? Are those bad?
Birthdays, those are bad as well. Just anything that people can easily guess if they know you. I know that a lot of people post a lot of their information online, their their first trip and stuff like that, their pet's name, like all of that is common knowledge, nicknames, just all of that is common knowledge. So if anything that people can guess easily, that would be definitely something.
Yeah. So no ABC 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, no. None of that.
Okay. So I'm going to do, it's kind of like a game. I'm going to say a word and then you'll just say the first word that comes to your mind when I say that word.
Oh, man. Okay.
So the first one is advisor.
Oh, well, Mitch.
The second one is discussion post, which is 2 words, but we're going to pretend it's 1.
Oh, discussion post, 12 a.m.
So nice. The third one is graduation.
Graduation anxiety.
Nice.
Yeah.
SNHU.
Excitement. Happy.
Nice. Last one is family.
Love.
So you actually already answered my next question. It was, what's the latest you stayed up working on an assignment? Is it 12 a.m.?
No, I've pulled all-nighters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've pulled all-nighters.
Nice.
Not going to sleep at all.
Last question is, if you could study anywhere in the world, literally anywhere, where would it be?
Somewhere near a beach with the ocean waves and the seagulls, just listening to the nature.
Nice. Well, that was all I had. Toni, thank you so much for joining us on this
Thank you
podcast. It's
for
been
having
awesome.
me.
Congratulations.